Welcome back to the Becoming Mind Strong podcast, and we are diving deep into the 3 stages of fat loss. Now, before I dive into this podcast episode, if you did not, and I'm going to be very adamant about this. Obviously, you do what works best for you, but I feel strongly about this. If you did not listen to the podcast episode before about step 1, the healing stage, 1 billion out of 10 recommend listening to that first. Okay. If you're someone who's like, but I'm just here for the fat loss stage, this stage cannot happen, physically cannot happen, biology 101, without the healing stage. So again, strongly recommend listening to that episode first before coming on to this fat loss stage. So in this episode, we are talking about step 2 of 3. If we want to lose fat, and I'm specifically saying fat because there's a lot of ways to lose weight, right? There's bloat, there's inflammation, there's water weight. Losing weight, the number on a scale, the force of gravity pushing down against that scale is very different than losing fat. And if we want to lose fat, especially if we are in peri or post-menopause, I like to teach it as a 3-step process. Process number 1 is we have to heal your metabolism. By definition, your metabolism is how good your body is at burning calories. So as you heard me talk about in that last podcast episode, I'm not going to go too deep into it here. If you're already eating 1,100, 1,200, 13, even 1,400 calories and you are not losing weight, right now, your metabolism's not very good at burning calories. We have to do that step first. There's no workaround for that unless you want to go on a drug like Ozempic, and you'll still wind up back here. But as I said in that last episode, that 6-inch hole is now 6 miles deep. Once your metabolism is healed, meaning your metabolism is now good at burning calories again, we are now ready for the part we actually want to do. We're now ready for the fat loss stage. And that's what we're going to dive into in this episode. Check it out. When we talk about the fat loss stage, one of the reasons I'm harping so much on making sure you've listened to the healing stage first is this. What I'm about to say can sound incredibly counterintuitive, right? Because if you listen to that last episode, and I just talked a lot about slowly raising your calories for the purpose of retraining your metabolism to being good at burning calories, what we're about to talk about in the fat loss stage is now slowly lowering your calories. And if you haven't listened to that first episode and you're just like, what in the, like, Rachel, you're just sitting here spinning my wheels, right? Why would I spend all that annoying, frustrating, slow time raising my calories if we're just going to turn around and lower your calories again? And the answer is because your metabolism wasn't good at burning calories. If your body was not releasing the weight at 1,200 calories, why do we think it's going to release the weight at 1,100 calories, at 1,000 calories? The answer is it is not. Your body has decided that your homeostasis, that your natural rest and comfort zone is a very restrictive low-calorie diet. Your metabolism, said with love, is not working right now. And continuing to cut calories is not the answer. It is absolutely not going to work. Believe me, I've worked with 2,500 women. The vast majority of them came to me eating somewhere between 900 and 1,400 calories, and the weight's not budging. And that's not Rachel's laws of health and fitness. This is the human body, especially in peri and post-menopause. So as we talked about in that last episode, there's a very specific, slow, personalized, I will say this is the challenge with the other term you may have heard used around this, by the way, is reverse diet. I hate that term because I hate the word dieting. Healing your metabolism is very difficult to do on your own. And I'm kind of going off on a side rant here, but I think it's important. Number 1, from a mindset perspective, it is petrifying to raise your calories. Number 2, if you do it too aggressively, if it's this free-for-all of, well, I'll just start eating more, you're going to gain weight, right? You heard me talk about that in the episode. There are some coaches who will do this very aggressively, and it comes with weight gain. And in a bigger picture, yeah, that's okay because we're going to get into the fat loss stage. We're going to lose the weight. But most of us want to avoid that if we can. So I'm just putting that out there up front. Of course, I'm teaching you everything you need to know. So if you want to give it a go on your own, you can. But I say that because I'm all about expectation management. That if your metabolism is not working right now, if you are in a healing phase, I strongly suggest you get help with that because it is a difficult thing to do on your own. Anyway, that's my little caveat. Now, let's say that we have gone through the healing stage. Okay, we've listened to your body, we've looked for those clues, and we have slowly baby stepped your calories up to a place where we can say, I think of a gospel church, hands in the air, stand up and be healed. Your metabolism is good to go. When I say that, obviously the question is, well, Rachel, how many calories is that? It's going to be different to each person. The textbook label, and I hate textbook labels, but the textbook label is anything under 1,600 calories is considered low calorie. Now, I shy away from giving that number, even though I just said it out loud, because right now, if you're eating 1,100 calories and you hear me say that, that sounds absolutely petrifying, right? If you're like, I'm not even hungry at 1,100 calories, you want to get me to 1,600? The answer is, I don't know. We may never get all the way up there. This is personalized. We're going to be listening to and responding to your body to see how high we take you. The fun thing with this part, by the way, and I'm kind of going off on a side rant, is if you wanted to train your body is capable of crazy things. I know people that only work out 2-3 days a week, and they have done this healing stage. Like, they healed their metabolism. Their metabolism's great, but they wanted to take it to the next level. You could train your body to eat 2,000 calories a day and have that be maintenance. That's kind of a don't freak out about that. That's a fun little side note. I don't know that I've ever had a woman that I've personally worked with as of the time of this recording who wanted to play long ball to that level, but I'm sharing that to say your body responds to how you train it, right? We talked about this a lot in the last episode. The reason it's not losing weight at 1,200 calories, this is not your fault. Nobody taught you better. Is you trained it to do that by cutting calories over the years. So when we go through that healing stage and we slowly baby step your way up, now you are in the driver's seat. You are training your body to be better at burning calories. And we are going to take that. It's not an indefinite thing. We're going to take it to a place where now we can say with confidence, no wishing, hoping, praying, okay, stand up and be healed. My metabolism is now good at burning calories again. Now we are ready for the fat loss stage. So I'm going to use 1,700 calories for the purposes of this conversation. Again, I'll probably say this a bunch of times. If that number scares you, pretend it's a different number. I'm literally just throwing a number out there. This is so personalized. If you're coming to me at 900 calories, we might not get you up to 1,700, and that's okay. I'm using that number for ease of conversation. If it scares you, change the number in your brain, okay? So let's say you came to me at 1,200 calories. We went through a healing stage. It was slow. It was tedious. It was frustrating at times. We had a million conversations that this is a one-time thing, the healing part. Stand up and be healed. Hands in the air. Hallelujah. We get you up to 1,700 calories. You have not gained weight. Your energy's through the roof. Your clothes are starting to feel differently. If you're someone who works out, your workouts are next level. You feel incredible. We are going to focus on the fact that you went from 1,200 to 1,700 calories without gaining weight. Holy crap. Neon sign. Your metabolism is now healed. At this point, we have a choice. I'm going to ask you, okay, knowing that the healing stage is slow and tedious and a lot of mental work, do you want to immediately go into a fat loss stage? Do you want to do a little more work? Are we going to roll up our sleeves and get to it? Or do you want to take a little break? Do you want to just hang at 1,700 calories for a bit? We're going to call this maintenance, meaning you don't have to be as meticulous with tracking. You can eat a little more food. Like, let's give ourselves a little mental break because we just did a bunch of work. I'll tell you honestly, most people don't choose to take a break. They're like, I came here to lose weight, get this weight off me. Let's get straight into the fat loss stage. That's personal choice. I personally like a little mental break, but I've also been doing this a long time, so I can play long ball a little better. Most people hit that point and they're like, no, let's go. Let's get this weight off me. At this point, we're going to reverse the process, meaning we are not going to jump you from 1,700 calories to 1,500 calories. Again, there are a lot of coaches out there that will do that. To me, there's two problems. Number one, somewhere between 1,700 and 1,500, you started losing weight, and we don't know where because we took a massive leap. I want us to learn your body like the back of our hand, where we can have conversations like, at 1,700, I'm at maintenance, but at 1,650, I start to notice the weight come off. When you learn your body to that level, the sky is the limit. I think of it as little control knobs. You are in control of those little knobs. Where do you want to go next? And that's the third stage that we'll talk about next. When we go slowly, we learn your body to that level. Number two, if you jump from 1,700 calories to 1,500 calories, Lord Almighty, you are going to be hangry, and it is not going to last. When we try to be too aggressive, it leads to caving, it leads to binging, it leads to going down the rabbit hole. One of my favorite expressions with weight loss is slow and steady is infinitely better than overly aggressive and caving and binging. It's a long-winded statement, but I say it all the time. So you're at 1,700. We're going to drop you to like 1,650. Okay? We're going to hang there for a couple weeks. We're going to see how your body's responding. If we're feeling good, if we're noticing shifts, if the weight's starting to come off, if energy's still feeling good, if hunger is a huge one we're looking for is feeling good, maybe we drop you to 1,600. There's some people I'll go to 1,625 yet. We'll take the babyest of baby steps. What we are never going to do is get you back into a 1,200 calorie diet, because now, I hate the word diet, get you into a 1,200 calorie caloric state, because now we have shot ourselves in the foot and now we're ruining our metabolism all over again. When we do the fat loss stage, we are lowering by baby steps, and we are never going below a certain point, because everything we're doing is in the name of your metabolism. We're never going to do something for a fix that's going to hurt your metabolism long term, because you're just going to be right back here with me 6 months from now. It's like going on Ozempic saying, crap, well, now I've shot myself in the foot because I'm back to eating 1,200 calories a day and I'm not losing the weight. When we do it in baby steps, and when we do it only in a targeted amount, which is different for every person, which is why I'm not talking about a bottom number, your body is going to lose the weight. It is biology 101. There is no world, there is no wishing, hoping, praying, there is no world in which your metabolism is healed and you get into a caloric deficit and you don't lose the weight, right? This is why, and I'm going to go off on a side rant, but it's not really a side rant. When our Instagram feeds are filled with things saying eat less, move more, when our doctors are telling us eat less, move more, and we're saying as peri-postmenopausal women, I freaking am and it's not working. The part that's missing from that statement, because most coaches don't know this unless they specifically work with peri-postmenopause, most doctors don't know this, is that eat less, move more does not work with a broken metabolism, or a metabolism that's not running great. I shouldn't call it broken. And in peri-postmenopause, this is where we see this most, which is why stage 1 has to be healing first. And then in stage 2, the fat loss stage, the rules do apply. Eat less, move more, caveat, without ever going too low, which is going to mess with our metabolism again, okay? The fat loss stage is the one that we're most familiar with. It's what our Instagram feeds were filled with. It's what worked for us in our 20s and 30s. The reason it wasn't working before is because we had to go through the healing stage first. Now, last thing I'll say about the fat loss stage, you do not want to stay here forever. And this is where a lot of people start they drive their metabolism into the ground for 2 reasons. Number 1, you could say it with me by now if you've been paying attention, they try to go too low in calories. Number 2, they try to stay here forever. If you come to me and you're like, I've been in a caloric deficit for 6 months, I'm like, oh, your metabolism hates you right now. Because even though macro tracking, the skill that we teach, is not restrictive, you're still putting stress on your body because you're in a caloric deficit. Weight loss is intended to be a quick in and out. Let's lose a few pounds. Let's go back to maintenance for a little bit, give our body a rest. Let's lose a few pounds. Let's go back to it. It really is playing long ball in the name of training our metabolism to be as on fire as possible. I'm going to talk about this more in the last part of the series. But for the purpose of right now, what I want to say, what I want to end this with, is that when you have healed your metabolism, when you have now, with a healed metabolism, put yourself into, baby stepped yourself into a caloric deficit, number 1, not going too quickly, and number 2, never going that low again. Your body has to release the weight. Again, it is biology 101. There's no wishing, hoping, praying involved here. And with that, the last thought I'll leave you with is we don't want to stay there forever. This is intended, be in a fat loss stage, lose some of the pounds. If you only have a few to lose, you'll probably lose them here. If you have a lot to lose, we're going to do this in stages. At some point, your body's going to be clear to us, like, oh, I don't love this anymore. We take a little break, we go right back to it. But the beauty of the fat loss stage, doing this with a healed metabolism, is it works. Like, when people say to me, how do you know this works? I'm like, well, because you are a wonderfully beautiful, sparkly snowflake of a human but you don't defy the laws of math and science. The reason it hasn't been working is because your metabolism wasn't working very well. Now that we've got that fixed, fat loss is a given. You follow your plan, you do it correctly, it's going to work. What we're going to talk about in the third stage, so we've got the healing stage, we've got the fat loss stage, then we've got the stage that one day I'll create a better name for. It's the whatever the heck you want to do next stage, is you're now in the driver's seat. We have a healed metabolism. We know our body like the back of our hand. We can say things like, at X amount of calories, I'm in maintenance, meaning I'm not losing, I'm not gaining. I'm just kind of floating and feeling good and eating food. At X number of calories, I lose weight. At X number of calories, I aggressively lose weight. So I can do it for a period of time. I don't want to stay there too long. In the last part, what we're going to talk about is what the heck do you want to do next? You want to keep losing weight? You want to go to maintenance and hover for a little bit? You want to go into a bulk? You want to put some muscle on your body? Because you are in the driver's seat, again, I think of it as these little fine-tuning knobs. You are in control and you have the skills. There's no wishing, hoping, praying. It's cool. Well, for the next, 6 months, what do I want to do? It's holiday time. I probably don't want to track macros that aggressively, that meticulously. What do I want to do? And we're going to talk about that last part in the last part of this series.